Hi YouTube, welcome back to the Mind Gains, where our goal is to give you a concise and accurate take on topics relating to earth sciences, astronomy, and sometimes even philosophy in 7 minutes or less. We hope you enjoyed our pilot episode, and we will continue to refine our style and technique in regards to our video editing and presentation. To everyone who has subscribed, we'd like to take this moment to thank you. With all that being said, let's get into today's video. When it comes to sheer potential destruction on a mass scale, no one can deny that hurricanes, also known as cyclones or typhoons, depending on where on the globe you are at, reign supreme. These superstorms often cover vast amounts of land and sea alike, sometimes spanning over 1,200 miles wide in rare cases, but much more commonly averaging about 200 to 400 miles wide. These storms often collect the most destruction in terms of lives lost, infrastructure damage, and net cost of damage of any natural disaster, rivaled only by earthquakes. However, today we are talking about a much more localized disaster, known as tornadoes. A tornado is essentially a violent rotating column of air that is intact with both the surface of the earth and a cumulus cloud simultaneously. Tornadoes come in lots of different shapes and sizes, ranging from a few dozen meters across, causing minor cosmetic damage to property, and achieving wind speeds of maybe about 40 miles an hour, to truly monstrous proportions of over 2.5 miles wide, like the twister that tore through El Reno, Oklahoma in late May 2013. Tornadoes occur on every continent, with the exception of Antarctica. However, the United States has by far and away the most tornadoes of any country on Earth, thanks largely to our rather unique geography. The central U.S. is particularly prone to the cells that spawn tornadoes, as the flatter topography and mixtures of warm and cold air coming from the Central Plains and Gulf of Mexico and the Rocky Mountains respectively make for prime tornado conditions. However, many myths still surround tornadoes, among them being tornadoes cannot occur in higher elevation regions. Tornadoes have been documented in every state in the U.S. This includes Alaska and Hawaii. Tornadoes can occur in any month of the year, provided favorable conditions are present, but the most common months for a formation is in mid-spring to early summer. Tornadoes are such headline grabbers primarily because of the peculiar paths they can take and spontaneity of their formation. Where areas a hurricane, residents may have weeks to prepare or evacuate the storm's projected path. Oftentimes, those in the path of an incoming twister are afforded no such luxury. Early detection and warning has certainly evolved substantially from the 1950s, when the only method of detection was spotting one already touched down, which defeats the purpose of early warning altogether. Oftentimes, local weather offices wouldn't even know about a tornado in the area until it had already passed. It wasn't until about 1970s the National Weather Service began training professionals in the field to spot the early warning signs of conditions that were ripe for producing tornadoes. Oftentimes, these early storm spotters were just local sheriffs, state troopers, firefighters, EMS, and even radio station operators. Even as of today, despite all of our advanced technology, our ability to detect tornadoes on the ground is still pretty limited, and eyes on the ground to directly confirm a touchdown is still necessary. Often when a tornado strikes a population center, it can carve a distinguishable path denoting the trajectory of its travel. It's not uncommon to see a suburban community with a clean path of destruction cut square through it, some houses absolutely obliterated, while their neighbors' homes are still intact with only relatively minor damage. The most extreme tornado to date is the Tri-State tornado, which tore through Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana on March 18, 1925, as an EF5 on the Fujita scale, ranking it the most intense and powerful of twisters. It traveled a total length of 220 miles at 75 miles an hour, and stayed on the ground for about 3.5 hours, ultimately resulting in the deaths of 695 people. It still remains the most deadly single tornado in U.S. history. While the storms that produce this destructive phenomena are still unpredictable and hard to intercept, our understanding of how they form and how to spot the conditions that are likely to form a tornado has expanded greatly, as has our ability to counter their impact. With the introduction of citywide sirens to alert the populace to an impending tornado approach, to hardened basements and structures specifically designed to withstand even the most powerful of twisters, we are constantly increasing our early warning response time, thus increasing the window for us to get out of the way and hopefully avoid tragedy. We can't stop nature from doing what it does, but if we can learn to exist alongside it with minimal friction, that's a future we can all invest in. Okay guys, that's going to do it for today's video. We really appreciate everyone for sticking around and listening to me drone on about wind. I really enjoyed researching for this video, as I learned quite a bit myself. So we'll be producing videos more frequently as we kind of nail down this whole editing process. So keep an eye out for the next video by hitting that bell icon. Hit that thumbs up if you liked it, and if you didn't, hit thumbs down. And drop a comment letting us know what we can improve on. We'll see you next time. Take care.